Hey, welcome to EPN. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest in everything cool every single day. Oops, I got the volume up on my iPad. Sorry about that. Hope you guys are having an incredible Friday. It is the weekend. Oh, I've got my phone volume up too. Volume everywhere. Hope you guys are ready for an incredible weekend. Summer is basically starting, at least in Vancouver. Beautiful sunny day today. And sorry that we started a little bit, like a couple minutes past 1 for our live show. We shot our very first 4K video game review today. And so it took a little while to process all of that stuff. You're going to be able to watch it, not in 4K in the stream, but you'll be able to watch the 4K video of that later today, which is exciting for us. Took a little longer to process all of that, though. But let's get started with our rundown. Our rundown today is going out to King Xanadu, and he says, this blew me away when I read this yesterday. Vic, you're easily the best gaming interviewer on Earth, and he was commenting on the Ni no Kuni 2 interview that we did yesterday. You are a sweetheart, King Xanadu, if that's in fact your real name. But we got you this rundown. After a string of disappointments, DC is hoping for their movie universe that can be saved by a god or new gods. The studio is developing a big screen movie based on the iconic New Gods comic series. First published in 1971, the books see a group of powerful aliens led by the villainous Darkseid come to Earth in order to wage war. The books were created by Jack Kirby, best known for co-creating Marvel characters like Hulk, Fantastic Four, and X-Men, and Kirby injected loads of social commentary and heady sci-fi themes into the stories. As for who will make the film, DC and Warner Brothers are in talks with Selma and A Wrinkle in Time director Ava DuVernay to direct, and she's obviously no stranger to social commentary. A release window hasn't been named. Now, I haven't seen A Wrinkle in Time. We were supposed to go out and see it. We screwed up scheduling-wise and didn't get to it, but it looked like it could be sort of approximating, the vibe of a superhero movie. I'm excited that we've got, different visions and different ideas. I think this is a very cool thing. I think, obviously we need to have some different voices in this superhero pool like this. I have to admit, I'm not super familiar with the New Gods. This makes me want to go and read all of those stories, so I probably will be picking up some of those things and checking them out on my giant iPad. Yeah, I think this is fantastic news. It's clear that DC isn't giving up, and they're not shying away from stuff that isn't, maybe so overtly well known there. It's not just going to be Batman movies and Batman family movies. It's a big deal that they're going to make a New Gods flick. It's also a big deal that they're currently in production on Shazam, which, they're playing with a lot of this territory. Thor and Doctor Strange have basically, and Black Panther, have opened the doors to superhero movies of all shapes and sizes and, backgrounds, all kinds of cool stuff. So, psyched about this. Also psyched that the biggest esports event in the world is leaving the US and coming to Canada. Valve has announced that their annual DOTA 2 tournament, the International, is leaving its home city of Seattle and will instead be held in EP's hometown of Vancouver. This is the first time the event will take place on Canadian soil, and Valve hasn't said why they're moving the event, although it's worth pointing out that it will be easier for competitors from around the globe to secure travel visas to Canada than it would be to the United States. The International 2018 takes place from August 20th to August 25th and will be held in Vancouver Rogers Arena. Tickets go on sale next week. Yeah, this is a big deal, and I'm currently experiencing this because I'm friends with Rami Ismail on Facebook, and he's based in Copenhagen, I believe, but he's got a Middle Eastern descent and a Middle Eastern name, and he's also done a lot of great things in the video game space. He's a prolific indie developer, and he's been putting together a talk at GDC with lots of other developers from all kinds of nationalities, and some of those folks have had their travel visas stopped, and so he has had to continually and continuously change the speakers that are going to be at his talk at GDC next week, which is ludicrous. These are professionals that are working in the gaming space, but yes, they're having a very tough time just getting access to be able to, talk about their profession in America right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is the beginning of several other things related to what, we're all into, games and entertainment and all that stuff, come up and be located here in Canada. We used to have a GDC Canada, and I think this is going to be the beginning of some very, very big things. We've also had, what's the effects show, the big special effects, visual effects show. I forget the name of it. We've had those guys come up and be based up here in Vancouver. Ted has had been headquartered in Vancouver. I think we're going to see a lot more of this kind of thing, which is a little bit sad, but it's kind of the way of the world right now for people trying to get to work in the U.S. right now, which is crazy. Let's talk about Battlefront 2 news. Electronic Arts and DICE are revamping Star Wars Battlefront 2 yet again, but it might be a little too late. They've announced a complete overhaul of the progression system in the game, changing it from a randomized process to something more straightforward and linear. For starters, players will no longer need to sift through loot crates in order to get the star cards they need to unlock new abilities. They'll instead be able to unlock specific star cards using experience points. This will take away the randomization process, which means a lot less grinding. As for microtransactions, they'll still be in the game, but you won't be able to use them to buy loot crates, which was the biggest cause of all the controversy surrounding the game. It remains to be seen if these changes will help win back players, given the bad reputation that the game already has. The changes begin rolling out next week. I was just thinking about this game. I loaded up a game on my Xbox, which I'll be talking about a little bit later in the show, and I saw my Battlefront 2 icon just sitting right there, and I'm like, is anybody still playing this thing? I want to go back into it. I think I loved it when I was playing it, and I feel like maybe some of the backlash for this game and also some of the divisiveness of The Last Jedi has kind of taken the wind out of the sails. But listen, man, like DICE and Criterion and Motive, the people that built that game, they built something really beautiful. It has lots of issues and it's pissed a lot of people off. But, if you're a Star Wars fanatic like I am, there was a lot of joy to be had in that experience. And hopefully this brings people back. The other thing that they've announced with all of these changes is that a lot more content is coming, and Solo, of course, is going to be launching next month or in a month and a half. There's new Star Wars content headed our way. There'll probably be announcements of, what the Star Wars TV show looks like, maybe some kind of reveal about the animated stuff that's headed our way. There's a lot of stuff that can be added to Star Wars Battlefront 2. Let's see. This is going to be a very interesting summer, and this is a big lesson that not only EA has learned, but the entire video game industry has learned. I do still want to play the game. I've had a lot of fun in Star Wars Battlefront 2, and I may be alone in that comment, but I've really enjoyed a lot of stuff about Battlefront 2. My review went up, and it was from the heart. I played hours and hours and hours of it, but I fully understand all of the anger and all of the stuff that has come out of this, and hopefully it leads to very good things across the industry and lots of big changes. I mean, one of the biggest ones is just make it, so it's not based on powering your characters up. It's just cosmetic, just make it about the look and feel of your characters. Anyways, Western gamers will soon be able to win a chicken dinner on their phones. The mobile version of Battlegrounds, which was first released in China late last year, is coming to the West. A beta version is currently available on Android devices in Canada, and a full release on both iOS and Android will hit all of North America and Europe soon. The mobile version wasn't a straight-up port. It's instead built from the ground up for mobile devices, but is meant to be faithful to the main game. The announcement of the Western release comes just days after rival game Fortnite Battle Royale began rolling out its own mobile version. This is crazy days, man. We're going to see cross-platform play in these huge Battle Royale experiences, and people are going to be playing on their little phones, and they're going to be fighting people on PC with mouse and keyboard. Incredible. It's absolutely it's like a Pokemon Go sized trend, this Battle Royale type of gameplay. I know we're going to see a million Battle Royale derivatives at probably at GDC and at E3. And who knows how long this is going to last, but I think Fortnite has got the edge, man. I feel like there's a lot more sort of complexity. There's a lot more ways in to enjoy Fortnite, and that sort of cutesy look that the game has, I think, is going to appeal to a lot more players, So this is really, it's really interesting kind of watching all of this stuff go. And we talked yesterday about the idea of all these celebrities playing Fortnite at E3. It's going to be nuts. And Western gamers finally know when they'll be able to play the latest Valkyria Chronicles game, with Valkyria Chronicles 4 about to hit Japan next week. Can't wait for this. Sega has announced that the game will make its Western debut this fall. It will be available simultaneously on the PS4, Xbox One, and Blake, also on the Nintendo Switch. Got a big thumbs up from Blake, which makes this the first game in the series on the new Nintendo platform. Valkyria Chronicles 4 returns the franchise to its tactical RPG roots and tells a new story that takes place at the same time as the very first game, but focusing on a new group of characters. Valkyria Chronicles is a very cool game. I mean, it's definitely borrowing from things like Final Fantasy Tactics, and you know, with its RPG, its JRPG storytelling and its characters and stuff. But it also gave you control of the characters, so you could move around and kind of position your people, and in sort of an overhead 3D perspective, or behind the character kind of 3D perspective. So it was a little bit more twitchy, a little bit more sort of tactile and fun that way. So a lot of diversity in the game style, and a maturity to the storytelling that kind of belied the sort of, you know, animation kind of look to the experience. But it was beautiful, and it had, you know, stories to tell about the disruption of people's lives and the devastation of war, and, you know, the efforts to try to regain peacetime. It had some powerful messaging in it, and it became a cult hit. So it's cool that it's coming back. And like I just experienced with Yakuza 6, I love Sega's quirky slant on how they make these games, you know, and I love that they continue to support titles like Valkyria Chronicles, like Yakuza, hell, even the stuff that Relic is working on, like the guys working on the Total War franchise and stuff like that. They're just an interesting company, you know. They don't knock it out of the park with everything that they do, but I appreciate the at-bats that Sega takes, you know? Very cool. Looking forward to Valkyria Chronicles 4.